Gods and goddesses in training, welcome back to the channel. It is Uncle Makara, all relations. Let's get started with today's video, how to escape samsara through the law of assumption. This is a very powerful topic, and I got these downloads from last night's buck full moon. We went buck wild and definitely didn't get a lot of sleep, so you might see some dark circles, okay? It was interesting because Ryan G's full moon deity was Makara, and my full moon deity was Kartikeya. A lot of downloads of the peacock feather coming up again and again and again, because this is honestly the symbol of all of the five senses, okay? If you have ever explored Vigyan Bhairava Tantra, that's one of the 112 meditations in it, that this is one sense, this is another sense, third, fourth, fifth, okay? The different colors representing the five senses. So when you meditate on the peacock's feather, there's something very powerful that happens or emerges. Last night, Ryan G was telling me that my character upgrade would be connected to Samurai X, also known as Batushai. I was also very inspired by the image of this old comic book I once saw called Sadhu. So that was the character evolution, the character development angle of all of this full moon. The combination of a peaceful wanderer and a fearsome assassin coming together is very empowering, to me at least. It was really a way to combine and be in the middle path, almost like how Piccolo is the middle path in Dragon Ball Z. So last night the download was paradise equals a pair of dice. It's taking a gamble, it's taking a risk. It's being a successful risk taker, which is a top attraction switch, if you're familiar with attraction switches. When you assume something in a negative way, you start overthinking. When you assume something in a positive way, you start manifesting and creating. When you assume in a delusionally optimistic manner, the best thing to first do is to remove all doubt, is to truly trust and believe that this journey that you're on is meant for you. And the more you stray away from your dharma, the more difficult this journey is going to get. It's going to push you into these random moments of resistances and challenges that you have to face. So the first correct frame of manifestation is to assume that it's already yours. It's already mine to begin with. It's already here. I can almost taste it. I feel it in my bones. I like how Neville Goddard talks about the revision technique to revise all the negative events of your day and then rewrite them as you go to sleep. So go through them. How would you have done it? And assume that it was done like that. So therefore you're not clinging to the bad memories and going to sleep with this negative frame of mind. But I want you to understand this analogy of form and emptiness that I just came across. Imagine you're watching a movie. All of the characters seem very real, and the storyline you get wrapped up in, correct? You think that you're actually there. You get transported to another world. The consequences of the movie evoke certain emotions. You react to it. Your body moves. You start clapping, shaking, laughing. Yet behind it all is just a blank screen, is it not? In the movie hall, right, it's just a white or a black screen. So that blank screen, that tabula rasa, that Brahman, that Tao, that universal consciousness, that source energy, that God that prevails through it all, untouched by the drama unfolding in front of our eyes. Similarly, the form, or the movie, appears very real, but it's almost like an optical illusion, because the movie's true nature is that blank screen. It's the emptiness. To be the tantric tycoons of this thing, to be the priest and the priestess beasts in this thing, to be the savage shamans, we've got to learn how to tap into the divine through unconventional ways. Following a system, of course, but also connecting with what some of the ancient tantrics called spondo, or the divine cosmic dance or lovemaking of Shiva and Shakti, the divine vibration of the universe, the sine wave of the universe, the rhythm of the universe pulsating, life's pulsation, the heartbeat. Because even a river has boundaries, correct? So if we're these water-like living water land swimmers, we've got to really start to acknowledge our subconscious mind. Do you guys know of the story of Jonah in the Bible? Like this video if you know the story. So Jonah received a divine command from God that he was supposed to go into this city and talk to these people who were all living in sin. And Jonah, being a kind of a people pleaser, he was like, nah, I don't want to tell them that harsh truth. So what he did is he got on a ship, he got on a boat, and he dipped, right? He was like, no, I'm not going to do that. He didn't follow his mission, his dharma, his calling, his path that God had set out for him. It's all God's plan, it's all God's purpose. But he said, no, I'm going to go the other way. But then God sent a great storm, and Jonah was tipped overboard. And then, of course, he got eaten by this whale. And then you might have heard of the story of Jonah and the whale, where he's in the belly of the whale. And he spends 3 days and nights in the belly, which is a divine number. And he starts just praying for his deliverance. God heard his prayers and let the fish, or this whale, spit him out on dry land. So he was saved. Now he finally went back to the city of Nineveh. He could finally foster the courage to speak to this king and his wicked people. And they finally all repented for their sins, and they were saved. But even with this, Jonah was sort of perturbed. He wanted punishment for the wicked instead. But also God gifted him this plan that taught him about compassion and how it protected him, gave him shade over the years. That's basically the story, and this is a story about not activating your greatness. It's something called the fear of our greatness, the Jonah complex, or the golden shadow. I've talked about it on this channel before, right? From a flow state perspective, Jonah is finding it very difficult to accept his own true path. He resists his dharma, therefore he gets this external turmoil of samsara. And because him wanting to run away is like an escapist mentality, he was resisting the flow, which was leading him to chaos instead of harmony. It's interesting because one of the downloads we got last night was, first, you must appreciate the chaos. It was only through him appreciating what was happening to him and really being humbled by the fact, I'm in the belly of this whale right now. There's giant fish, right? I gotta really humble myself in this moment, and hopefully it all works out in the end, you know? So there was this inner conflict, but it created this necessity for this introspection, for going inwards, for meditating. So pray as if your prayers are already answered. That's the energy of the law of assumption. Because of Jonah's seamless execution of being spit out into land, he then finally had the courage to deliver this speech to the people of Nineveh. This moment of humility teaches Jonah about the importance of compassion, also known as bodhicitta in Buddhism, but also the sheer simplicity of the interconnectedness of it all, of all of humanity. So you got to turn the neurotic into erotic, the mundane into magic, boredom into relaxation. Go outside your niche, go outside your norm, your ordinary way of appearing and being. Because once you change the label, you change the strategy for yourself. Start to see everybody as future enlightened masters and kind mothers. Because initiation is your true nature. Feeling excited, as Bashar would say. Excitement or passion is also one of the blueprints to this code. Following that highest excitement, wherever it leads you, without attaching to the outcome. Wisdom is understanding that I must liberate myself and others and my future lives from this cycle of suffering and samsara. Another way to break out of the cycle is to have an intention that is aligned purely with the spiritual truth a divine cosmic law, such as the law of Samsara.
Shabu.
Now, this is purely my perspective. You can take this with a grain of salt. I think a lot of law of attraction stuff is pretty much a scam. A lot of charlatans and stuff out there. But this is what's worked for me. And I've embodied my life to be a character in this video game called life, constantly refining it, and being almost like Bruce Lee says, acting unacting, or natural unnaturalness, or natural naturalness. It's that natural instinct with that sense of control. And together, we tap in. I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. Like and share this with a friend. Not doing lives for a few days. As this lagginess stops, then I'm gonna tap in again with you guys soon. Thank you for your patience. Let's get it. Upward spiral. May we never be the same again. Osa.